Welcome back to Harmonize Your Life Conversations on Self-Care for Women of Color podcast. I am your gracious host, Dr.Toni G. Alvarado, and I am excited to continue these podcast conversations with each and every one of you. We are yet in season 11, and we are in the month of November, and we've already had excellent dialogue this month, and we're going to continue along the same subject or topic for the month, and that is the subject of intentional self-care. Yep, that's what we're going to be talking about, intentional self-care. And the guest that I have in the studio with me, like my previous guest, is a friend, a sister, but she's also a member of the Harmonize Your Life Intentional Self-Care Program. She's a part of the Self-Care Network, which is a larger group of women, but then there's also a group of women that I am personally coaching and leading through a process of intentional self-care. And my guest that's coming to us in a few minutes is a member of the 2023 cohort of our Intentional Self-Care Program. I will introduce her more formally in a minute, right after this. All right. I have in the podcast studio with me Paula Burch Jackson, a friend of many years, a sister beloved, and a soror. And I'm excited to have you in the studio with me, Paula, today. I think this is the first time you've been a guest on the podcast, right?
It is. It is.
Oh, good. I know we talk about it all the time. I feel like you've been on here. We talk about it so much.
No, right.
And Paula is also a podcaster, and she's also a podcaster, a coach, a realtor. Let me just give you a little bit about her. Paula Burch Jackson is a beacon of light, a guiding force, an inspiring figure who has touched the lives of many. Her journey has been one of resilience, faith, and unwavering determination. Through her various roles as an author, teacher, preacher, associate broker, and motivational life coach, Paula has dedicated her life to helping others discover their true potential and live a purposeful existence. Education has played a significant role in her journey. She holds a Master of Arts degree in Human Services with a specialization in life coaching from Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia, and a Bachelor of Arts degree in Leadership Administration from Beulah Heights College, Bible College in Atlanta, Georgia. That's where we actually met. She's a former student of mine there. To enhance her expertise, she has also obtained a life coach certification from Dream Releaser Coaching and became a DISC certified behavior analyst through Maxwell DISC Methods Introduction to Behavioral Analysis. As an accomplished author, Paula has used her own life experiences to inspire and uplift others. Books she has authored includes Keeping It Real, So God Can Heal, Life After Death, From Grief to Glory, This Game Called Life, How to Master the Game and Win, and Navigating the Waves of Relationships, From Calm Seas to Blue Skies. Paula Burch Jackson's story is one of triumph over adversity, hope over despair, and faith over fear. I love that. Her life serves as a testament to the transformative power of self-belief and the capacity for greatness within each of us. Through her unwavering dedication to empowering others, Paula lights the path for countless individuals, illuminating their way to a brighter and more fulfilling future. And she is a true inspiration, reminding us all that we have the power to create the life we desire and deserve. Welcome to the Harmonize Your Life podcast, Paula.
Thank you for having me.
I'm glad to finally have you in the studio with me.
Thank you.
You have been a friend. You have been a supporter. I already told them you're my soror, but you've been
Right,
a supporter of the self-care network since I started in
right,
2020.
right,
During the pandemic was when we started the self-care network. And
right.
then this year, we launched the intentional self-care program. And you were one of the first ones to sign on.
Right, right. I was ready.
So talk to us about your wellness journey, your fitness journey, and what led you into this process of intentional self-care into the program.
Oh my God, so much. For one thing, I realized that even though I keep saying in my head I'm still 25, my body was not lining up. It wasn't agreeing. And Dr.Toni, I remember we've done so many things together and watching you from a distance sometimes. And I remember we ended up in the same gym out in Covington and just
Yeah.
we were killing the game, right? And then we that gym closed down, and I kind of fell off a little bit. But I really started my fitness journey seriously in 2012 because again I began to age and I began to realize that my body wasn't doing. I didn't have the bounce back like I
Mm,
used to have. Getting
mm,
tired, unable to sleep, etc. Then fast forward, I started exercising, lost the weight I wanted to lose. Life happened, COVID
mhm,
hit, and I gained what I call that COVID weight. Not only was it the weight, but also the COVID mindset. You know what I mean? That shut away that. And so when you started doing the self care network, that was it was timely for me because I needed the camaraderie, I needed the sisterhood, I needed
mhm,
to know that my challenges and my struggles were not alone. That there were other people having the same mindset, the same defeated mindset that I had, and us just getting together and having a platform to talk. And then when you started this self care, what is it called? This the self care network,
the intentional self-care program.
the
Mhm,
intentional. I was like, yep, I got to do that because at that time, all of my numbers were going the wrong way with my doctor.
mhm,
Go in
mhm,
there, take all of these tests, and all my numbers were in the negative. They were, and I've never seen that before. And so, like
mhm.
I said, it was so timely. And I remember the first thing that you said is that we need to have a board of director for our health, and you need to know your numbers. And I'm like, I've seen the numbers, but I was just like, it's like in passing. But when you
Mhm.
start breaking those numbers and explaining why it was important for me to know those numbers, it just like I set my intention, say I got to do this. And like I
Yeah,
said, the whole board director idea was just amazing to me. And I
yeah.
immediately started interviewing doctors. Some doctors got fired, not personal, but I knew one that worked for me. And now I feel like I'm even developing relationship with those people whose calling is to care for others. And so, but it's
Mm,
important they know, not just know me as a number, know me as a chart, but to know me as a human being. And so that
mm,
has really, I'm loving it.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you one of the things I do stress with the women in the program and the women that I coach, that yeah, know your numbers because a lot of times we can look good on the outside and we
Mm,
may even we may not feel like we're overweight or that we're carrying too much weight, but the internal numbers tell the real deal, right? So
mhm,
your A1C, your cholesterol, your blood
mhm,
pressure, the stuff
mhm,
that we can't readily see,
mhm.
right? Knowing
Right.
those things, your BMI, your body mass index, those kind of things, we should know our body fat count
Mhm,
because if we don't keep up with those things, they do creep up. Um, as you know, I'm just recently, and when I had my physical in June, my numbers had started to creep up. My cholesterol, particularly, and
right.
my blood pressure was good, but my cholesterol, my A1C level was not where in my normal range for me. And
Mhm,
so I started seeing it climb a little bit, an incline, and my doctor brought it to my attention. Of course, after I got the um, the blood work back from the lab, that was the first thing I looked for. I always look for that first, and then
mhm,
right after I looked at my numbers, then here comes the email from my doctor. Hey, let's look at this. This is we trending in the wrong direction. And I'm like, oh no, no, we can't do that. And I had to this year make some additional radical changes. And I knew for me, it could not have it wasn't due to lack of exercise for me, because I was, me, I'm feeling the
Right.
exercise. I love it. I mean,
Even
I saw a meme yesterday. Somebody said, what do you do for fun? And it said, I do squats, I bench press, and something else, and sit-ups or push-ups or something. And I said, you know what? I need to get me a t-shirt to say that, because I enjoy it. I enjoy weightlifting, I enjoy hiking, running. I love all of it. Those things I enjoy. But I knew for me, and what it couldn't have been the exercise game for me, that it had to be my eating. And so I had to look at what I was eating, regularly, what I was eating, and make some changes. I gave up bread. I gave up, and y'all know I love popcorn. I gave up popcorn. And somebody said, well, popcorn is, when I tell people that, they go, popcorn is good. And I said, well, not the kind I eat, because I like it with butter and salt. And, I'm not going to eat no dry popcorn. I want it. Right? And so for me, that cholesterol, all that. And in my family, also, we should know our family medical history. Right. And that was one of the things we talked about with you. So talk to us. What were your numbers when you started the program, and where are you now? Do you know where you are?
I'm normal now, but when we started the program, I was way high. As a matter of fact, they had labeled me borderline diabetic.
Right.
And so when I went back and started exercising, started eating, changed my diet, and I remember you telling me, tell them you want them to recheck those numbers. And I did. I made an appointment, and I asked the nurse, can you recheck my numbers? And they were normal. And every time I go, they're normal. And so I asked the lady, so can you take that borderline diabetic out my chart? And of course, unfortunately, when you get those bad readings, they won't take it there out. No. She explained to me, because if it's not there, they won't look for it. So because it was elevated at that one time, now they have to look for it. I don't like that, but it is what it is. So that's
what it is. And it's for your protection that they keep it in your chart, because like you said, if they won't look for it, if they don't know to look for it, then they won't look for it unless we ask them to look for it. And that's another thing we talked about when you were going to do your appointments. Remember, we talked about you writing down those questions that you had. And going in, because a lot of times for us, particularly women of color, we just go to the doctor. We don't have any questions. We don't, ask anything. We don't look anything up before we go. And we just accept whatever they say to us. But no, you can push back on some things. You can ask for certain tests and certain readings. And some things, Paula, like I tell you all in the group, some things, if your insurance doesn't cover it, then you need to set up your life in a way where you can pay for those screenings and exams that you need.
Right. Absolutely. And that's exactly what I said, because I know, the insurance company allow you so many. And that's why I don't care. Then they bill me, send me the invoice, tell me what it is, and I'll pay it myself. Exactly. Also, it's so important, like you said, to now. I think in another life I was a doctor, because
I was a nurse. Okay. All right.
Because when I go into the doctor, whatever's ailing me, I'm that WebMD queen, right? And they can't stand, doctors can't stand it. But at the end of the day, I don't see any different from what I'm doing in that system from what they're doing. And no, I love doctors, and I know that they have their purpose. But at the end of the day, their license does say to practice medicine, and so they can only go by what I tell them. And a lot of times you don't even know how to describe what you're feeling. You don't really know. And so when I'm having these different symptoms, I find the one that matches. Okay, that really describes what I'm feeling right here. And so that allows me to tell them, but then I just go a little bit step further and say, I think this is what I need to do. I just need you to write it out. And of course, sometimes they don't do that. And sometimes, you write on the money. But I also, when you said to get the board of directors, and I began to interview my doctors, and I loved having the conversations to say, hey, this is who I am. And I want you to treat me as if I'm your mama, your sister, your cousin, yourself. Don't prescribe me something
That's intentional.
Right, that you want to take. Absolutely. And
Mm-hmm.
so one doctor, you know, I'm a senior now. I'm about to catch you. I'm about to be the 60 not in a couple of years.
Come on.
And, right.
It's good over here. It's good over here.
Right. So I'll be 58 on my birthday, and I'm already going through the, you know, deep in the hot sweats, right? In the menopause and all of that stuff. And sometimes the struggle is real when you're having those hot flashes. And I went to my doctor and I was talking to her about it. And she said that there was a new study that was coming out and that the FDA had approved it and they thought it would be a good match and asked me if I wanted to try it. And I'm like, she said it can help with the hot flashes. I'm like, okay, let's talk about it. Well, she said I had to go and get a liver test before I could take the medicines. When you're intentional about your health, you ask the right questions. So why would I need a liver test just to take a prescription? Will it have an impact on my liver? And she's like, yeah, the chances are. Okay, I can deal with the hot flashes. I can't deal with a jacked up liver. So I'm gonna pass on that one. I can live with the hot flashes.
Honey. Because this too will pass.
It will pass. And the thing about it, they only last for a few seconds. So no, I don't want to take that. And so at that point, I had the conversation. So I really prefer natural products. Yeah. So is there anything natural that you can recommend to me that can help? And then she did. She gave me a list of natural products that I could use, and they're helping. I mean, but not as bad, and there's not as frequently. So and you really have to, like you said, you can't just go in there and let people just because they don't know you, right? And they don't. You have to be intentional about your care. If you care, it's almost like when your kids were in school. The parents that showed up, those kids were treated right, but the ones who didn't, And so show up for your doctor, then they will show up for you. And that's what I've learned through this intentional self-care. I think they want to know yourself. Right.
Show up for yourself.
Right.
When I this year, my doctor, and I shared this with you all in the group. I'll drop this here again. Remember me sharing with you all in the group how I interviewed my doctor, my current doctor. Right. And with my previous primary care physician was retiring from Kaiser. And we got the letter saying he was going to be retiring or whatever. And so then they said, you know, you have to select a new primary care physician. So I went on the website and I looked up a few doctors, and it was important to me that my doctor be African American, and then I wanted a female doctor. My previous primary care was a male, but he was good. He was good. But I wanted a female internal medicine general practitioner for my primary care. And so when I called to make the appointment, Paula, and when they were like asking me the questions on the phone, and they were like, well, do you need to come in? Are you sick? Is this a wellness? I said, no, I just need to come and meet the doctor. I need to come meet her. Mangaroo is her name. I need to come meet her. And they were like, well, I mean, your physical is not until June. I said, because I started with her in January.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I was supposed to start with her this year in January. So my physical was in June of this year. So I went and met with her in January of this year. Even though I knew my physical was 6 months later, because you're new to me, all that. And she said to me when I went in there to talk to her, she said, you know, I wish more patients would do what you're doing. She said, you are a model patient, because most people just, you know, laissez-faire, take whatever you get, whenever you can get it. And I'm like, no, I want to have conversation with her. I want to know about her training. I know what I read on the website, but I want to make sure I got a good feeling of working with her. And I want her to know me. I want her to look at my chart. I want her to talk through my medical history with me. And I shared that with you all. And then I saw so many of you all go and do thou likewise.
Absolutely.
And I remember when you were like, hey, I found my doctor. I interviewed a couple of doctors and I landed on the one I want.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes. And then I added more that I wasn't even thinking about, like my chiropractor. my trainer, my fitness trainer.
Mm-hmm.
He's
You started building that self-care board of
board of directors, right?
Yeah.
And relationship. Everything about in life is about relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And so being able to build that relationship with those who, again, whose task is to make sure that I'm whole, that I'm well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm loving it. So, like I said, set those intentions and the world will follow. Everything will line up. And that's what I'm experiencing in my life. And you know, even Toni is coming on board.
That I want you to talk about how because you set that intention, I want you to talk about how you came into relationship with your trainer.
Right. So when I was setting my intention, I told you, because again, we used to work out, what was that, 2012 maybe?
Mm-hmm. At that boot camp in Covington.
Yeah, mm-hmm. And then I fell away. I moved out.
I didn't stay in that long. By the way, I didn't stay in that boot camp long. I had to.
I think we left around the same time.
I think that's when I left and started working out with Gabe, my current trainer.
Okay. And I was going to ask you, so I was talking to you, and I started working out on my own, but in all honesty, I get tired. I'm gonna stop. It started getting as comfortable. Okay, that's enough. And so we were talking about that, and you said you need a trainer, and we talked about maybe coming to your house to work with Gabe, and then he's like, Paul, I want you to I want you to do something that you're gonna keep doing, and driving to Covington from Rex may not be the best thing, especially at 5 o'clock in the morning. And so you introduced me to Pam Beeks Daniels, and she's actually right around the corner. She's like 10 minutes away from me. So I was like, okay, I'll try Pam. And so I went to Pam's house, and yeah, she's the deal too. She has a full-fledged gym in her basement, and I began to work out with her, and she don't take any excuses for answers. I tell her I'm her, and she's like, okay, work through it. And I didn't send it to you, but she had me doing some shoulder press yesterday. And I was like, Pam, look at that arm. I see the definition of my arm. I told you I'm coming after those arms. When we had your 60th birthday party, my husband was like, did you see Dr. Toni's arms? And I was like, okay, I'm coming after those arms.
Oh, Lord have mercy. And see, one of the reasons I wanted you to, when we talked about you coming here and working out with me, which would have been fun for us, but you live, I live in Conyers and you live in Ellenwood, which is about how many miles away? Maybe about 30 miles away?
Probably about 30 miles away, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it would take you about 35 minutes to get to me with no traffic.
No traffic, right.
With no traffic, right? So the whole idea of harmonizing your life, Paula, is looking at the various aspects of your life. And I knew that you might have come over here for a little while, but as soon as the novelty wore off and you dealing with getting up early and getting in that traffic and all of that, you're going to talk yourself out of going. So that's why I recommend, when I found out where you live, and I just happened to know a trainer that was in your area. Now, that may not be the case all the time, but I knew someone that was close to you. And what I wanted you to do was to go somewhere that you will go.
Right.
Even when you don't feel like it.
Listen, because as soon as I hit that 30 degree like it was this morning, Dr. Toni, I ain't going to make it.
That's why I got on that Peloton this morning, right? Because it was 30 degrees. Me and my walking group, we was like, last night, texting each other, are we gonna go out there in that 30 degree weather? Nah, we go, So I got on the Peloton this morning. So I made sure I did some cardio today, even though I didn't do the mountain. Yeah.
You know what, Dr. Toni, also I just want to add in there, the self-care network, in my opinion, it's about eating well, it's about taking care of yourself, fitness, but it's like embodies the whole totality of the woman, of the person, the mental, the physical, the emotional, even the financial, making sure that all aspects of our lives are in order, because that's what harmony,
all of that.
It all has to be balanced. We don't just talk about, it's harmonizing your whole entire life, not just your physical, but your internal as well. So the conversations are always good. I know you telling me I ain't got to come back next year.
You can if you want. I'll take you. I'll take you. The 2023 cohort is almost over. We are taking applications right now for 2024. Yeah. And but you won't have to apply. You just stay with it. You just slide on in. You don't have to apply. You just slide on in. Yeah. So talk about why that's important though. Why is it important? Was it important for you to have a network of women that like-minded women concerned about self-care, health, and wellness?
You know what? Because I've tried for so long to do it on my own, and it wasn't successful. And I found myself going internally. You know, we've had so many different conversations, Dr. Toni. You know, I'm a work in progress. Because when you go through life, you know, my podcast is This Game Called Life, How to Master the Game and Win. And this game called life, so much happens in life. And as women, sometimes we feel like we have to I shrink. I go inside of myself. I don't talk. And then next thing I know, now I'm dealing with depression. I'm unhappy. I'm moody. And I'm not healthy. All of my numbers are going the wrong way. You know, I've been to and I still see therapists. I go to my therapies but all of these things started happening because I started feeling like I was on an island all by myself, and that nobody got me, and that nobody understands me, and this always me, this person hurt me. And even though I'm not verbalizing it on the inside, I'm internalizing that stuff. And it began to be heavy on me. And when I heard about I think I started with the tea time. That was the first thing. On the tea time.
Because the tea time is a part of the self-care network, the larger network. And I do, for those of you that are listening and watching, we do once a month, every 4th or the last Sunday of every month. I meet with the women in the self-care network. And that's all the women who are in the network. We just do a monthly support group meeting called Tea Time with Dr.Toni. And so if you're interested, let me put that on the screen for those of you that are listening or watching. If you're interested in joining the Harmonize Your Life self-care network, you can go to my website at drtonialvarado.com and click self-care network up there and join. It is a membership-based support group, but it's nominal, $5, $10, or $25 a month. You can join at whatever level you're comfortable joining the self-care network, which is, I mean, that's less than what y'all pay for anything. You can't buy a cup of coffee for $5 now. So, but to be a member of the Self-Care Network, we have 3 levels of membership, and you can do that. And it's been a blessing. You know what, Paula, I really realize now that what I'm doing with the Self-Care Network is ministry.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's definitely ministry.
Of course, you know, I'm a preacher and I'm pastoring and I'm going to do my workshops and preach sermons and all of that. But I really, really love this. I love, you know, first of all, I'm coaching is the thing that I love to do. Like you got my DMin and my Doctor of Ministry is actually in leadership coaching for women. And but then of course I had, you know, the My Sister's Keeper Foundation. We ran a coaching program for a number of years there. But this thing that I'm doing with the Self-Care Network is where I'm like living and breathing right now. Because my goal was, Paula, was to make sure that we rewrite the narrative for Black women. We don't have to be number 1 in every disease: heart disease, kidney disease, all sorts of cancers, and heart disease is the number 1 killer for Black women. Heart disease. And so we don't have to, you know, we can change that narrative. And so that's why I want to bring these conversations to our community, because we perish for the lack of knowledge, right? And we perish for the lack of action. And sometimes we know, but we don't do what we know.
Absolutely.
That's why being a part of groups like this help.
Right. You know, a couple of months ago, how long it's been when we had the topic about, you know,
Black Girl Magic.
You're amazing. You're a strong black woman.
I talked to Tamara last week about it, and she brought it up too. She talked about how robust that conversation was.
Absolutely. Well, I did this, and you asked me for my opinion. I looked at the whole thing, and I gave you my opinion. But I've also like to seek to understand. You know what I mean? And I'm like, Lord, I have my opinion, and I know what I'm thinking. But I want to be open to everything and attached to nothing. I don't want to be attached to my opinion. I want to show me. I want to hear what she hears. I want to see what she sees. And so, lo and behold, this past Sunday, I almost called you. My daughter played this video for me. And she says, Mom, what is your thoughts about this? And on the video, it was two men, an older man talking to a younger man. And the younger man was saying everything in his house is 50-50. Him and his wife split the bills. They both work and they split all the responsibilities down the line. And then the older black man and says, and I want to teach you how to position yourself so that she don't have to do that. He says, so that she could take care of her. Do y'all have kids? Yes, we have kids. He says, so that she can be there and take care of it. He says, now if she wants to work, fine, but she shouldn't have to work. This is the older man says. Well, the younger man got offended. He says, well, this working for us. It's working for us. He said, oh, okay. The young man then arguing with him. He said, okay. He says, so you both go to work. You both split everything 50-50. He says, yes. He says, so does she do all the cooking? The young man says, yes. Does she do all the cleaning? The young man says, yes. He says, y'all ain't 50-50. I said, it sure ain't. That's 75-25, right? But when I saw that, and I'm like, God, and he says, but my wife like it. She don't complain. Of course we don't complain because we just do it. And it's in our DNA to just do it. I have a saying, and I didn't realize that I say this all the time, but my girlfriend, she called me on it, and she heard it when my sister who transitioned. We have this thing in our family that you figure it out. And so no matter what it is, our saying is, we'll figure it out. I'm going to figure it out. And we always do. But sometimes detriment of our health. Sometimes I'm so busy figuring stuff out that I'm not giving myself the proper rest that I need. I'm not drinking the proper water because I'm too busy figuring stuff out. Sometimes, so that young man, the older guy says, sometimes maybe she just want to rest. But that kind of shed a different light on me for that whole thing. And it's not saying there's something wrong with the phrase, but what it does to us mentally, not allowing us to step back and pause. And because we're going to go, we were trained that black men already got strikes against them, and so we've seen it. And so we got to be there. We got to help them. I don't want to beat down on the black man, and I don't. But at the same time,
what it's called? Hyper endurance. Hyper endurance, right? And
that's what
that's what it's called. And there's a post that came out the other day. I saw this post, and it's actually an article in the Washington Post about the strong black woman. And it says, the author says the expectation of hyper endurance feeds the dangerous, harmful, strong black woman myth. By expecting black women to endure discrimination without validating our pain and emotions, the trope, whose initial intent was to inspire and empower black women, contributes to the medical field ignoring our physical and emotional pain and feeds the idea that our socioeconomic and personal needs should come last in political movements. Ultimately, this myth that we are strong or magical dehumanizes us. And so, and I think that's what Tisa was getting at. Just not that we're not strong, not that we're not magical, not that we don't have it going on, not that we shouldn't be proud of ourselves, but we should also recognize our humanity and not overload ourselves and overburden ourselves in the name of being magical.
So when we're being these things, that we're still in harmony with ourselves.
Yeah. So the whole idea of harmony, because I dropped the word balance years ago. I dropped it because I found balance was not a sustainable model for living. It's just not, because balance, the word balance in and of itself means to have an equal distribution of weight. And that's just not how life is set up. And so you need a little bit of here and a little bit there. Sometimes you got to pull back have more emphasis in one area and not so there's things you need to just stop doing altogether or whatever, like I use the musical score as my metaphor for harmony because I'm musical and I have musical background. But when you look at a musical score, there's a lot going on, but it's not all going on at the same time. Right. And so that's how we should live our lives. We should not be living our lives in a manner that we're always at the same level of intensity. We're always on. We always have to be doing. And we should be free to make the changes that we need to make without feeling guilty, without having to explain.
Right.
Or, you know what I'm saying? Without all of that come with the guilt of self-care.
Right. Right. I agree. And I think I can't never remember. What's the little gymnast's name when she decided to take care of herself?
Why is that escaping me? Oh Lord, we just talked about her.
Talk about her.
Okay, I'm gonna Google because now I'm having a brain freeze right here on the podcast.
God, what is her name? I just had it first.
Simone Biles.
When she decided to take that break, when she was tired. And again, that's another example of what it looks like because people expect us to always be on 10. I'm not always on 10. Sometimes I'm on a 0 and I just need to sit down and do nothing. And it's okay. And I shouldn't feel
and it's okay. And it's okay. And you're worth it.
And I'm worth it.
You're worth it.
Since retirement, I took a lot of these 0 days.
And then talk about the investment. Why is it important? Because, you made an investment in yourself of time and money because the intentional self-care program, it's not free. It costs a tuition to be a part of it. So talk about the investment and why it's important to make investments.
First of all, I'm my greatest asset. I am. And I'm worth the investment. And I also learned when I pay for it, that means I'm serious about it and I'm stick to it. Anything that I get that has been free, I don't really value it. I don't put a lot of effort into it. And I notice even me being a life coach, because what we do, Dr. Toni, is so natural. I don't even know how not to coach.
Yeah.
You told me sometimes.
In your sessions, I'll be like, Paula, I'm your coach right here. You're not my coach.
Right.
We're talking about you, and all of a sudden you turn it on me. I'm like, Paula, this ain't my session. This your session.
Right.
Now I'll call you when I need a session.
Right. That part, right? And so I don't know how
I'll call you.
Because you will. Sometimes right after our session, you pick up the phone and call.
Okay, now I'm done with you. Now listen, I need you to help me with this. Okay, go ahead.
Right. But I've noticed that when people don't pay, they don't pay attention. Right. And so for me, when I don't pay attention. If I'm just going along, and because I was intentional about my care, how much I can't put a price tag on my life. So I am worth, I believe in sowing into my own life and investing in my own mental, physical, emotional health. And so when people tell me how much it costs, I mean, that's okay. It is what it is. What can I get out of this? And if it's something that can benefit me and for the self-care network, if you're struggling with anything, like I said, it's not just about the physical, it's all the whole totality of a person. It's the whole makeup of a woman, even down to your podcast because you share your podcast in our network. So let us go look at some of them you had. I'm like, golly, they'll rewind because they're so good. And so
y'all have reading, all your materials are covered in there. You have books that you have to read. Y'all have to do homework. It's not just coming together and talking. We are working on intentional self-care.
Right. And coaching, again, Dr. Toni, what you give to other people, what we give as coaches is priceless. You cannot put a price tag on a transformed life. You can't put a price tag on when I came to your program, I was borderline diabetic, and now I'm out of that trenches. You can't put a price tag on that. You can't put a price tag on I was 190 pounds when I started with you, and now I'm down to 169. You can't put a price tag on that. You know what I'm saying? So I still got some work to go.
A few months. I mean, What?
Right.
We started in January and now it's November. And that means you've lost about 30 pounds.
Working. And I got about 30 more to go, but we're working on it. Well, not quite 30, but yeah, that's 25. Yeah. And so you can't put a price tag on your health, right? And so, and it's worth what you pour into it, because it's just work. And I just believe in investing in myself. I'm always investing in myself.
Listen, I would rather a handbag. Yes, I like handbags. Yes, I like shoes. Yes, I like, nice clothes. And I'm going to do that. But I'm not going to do that above the things that are going to make me healthy, because you can be as the Latasha Lewis, the fitness trainer, Tata from Tata's fitness camp. She had her on the podcast. She was one of my early guests on the podcast. And she said, you could be cute. You could be casket cute.
That part.
Like a nice, where everybody's, and she's so pretty, but you lay it out in front of the church, right?
Yeah.
Or you can do the things that you need to do and be alive and cute.
That's right. And and all of that stuff that we sacrifice, that we put before ourselves. I mean, it goes back to the whole thing on the airplane. If anything happened, first put your oxygen mask on before you try. We're taking care of everything and everybody. Even financially, we put everything and everybody ahead of ourselves. And then, like you said, when I'm in that coffin, all of that stuff that made my priority, it's going to be like, okay, hey, she looks pretty. And then they go on with their own lives. So I'm my biggest asset. I want to be here to see Anna Lee, my grandbaby, walk across the stage to get her doctor's degree. Okay, I went all the way, right? To get her doctor's degree. How about I get her through kindergarten first, right? But I want to just be here to experience those things, and not just be here sitting in a wheelchair watching it. I want to be healthy. I want to be vibrant. I want to be able to do all the things that I want to do in life with her. And again, the self-care network and the accountability. I know that every month I got to give an account to Dr.Toni.
Yeah.
Right. So the accountability makes you want to do what you're supposed to be doing. And also when we have the group meeting with the ladies, to be able to share and be a part of and to motivate, because everybody encourages everybody. And so when we're able to share what our progress is, so even if I'm struggling something, another one of the ladies in the group will talk about her story, and it's like, I'm not the only one. Okay, that's something I can do differently. So it's just been amazing. So it's been a great year. So thank you for.
Well, I'm so delighted that you all trust me to lead you through this process. And I say that to you all every month when we have our group sessions, and even in your one-on-ones. I thank you all for trusting me to lead you through this process of intentional self-care. And I also always tell y'all, I'm just a few steps ahead of you. I'm not way down the road somewhere where, I've mastered everything. No, look, I found fresh water, and I'm saying, hey, y'all, it's over here. Come on over here. Right. And that's what it's about as a coach. That's what I'm here to do as a coach, to lead you all to fresh water, to lead you to green pastures, to lead you to a place of wholeness, a place of harmony, a place where you're not, but you can, if you want to, come off medications, with your doctor's assistance. I don't do no medical work. I'm not a medical doctor. I always have to tell people that I am a doctor of the church. I have a DMin, but we work with in tandem. And so when you go see your doctor and you come back to me as your coach, I'm going to ask you, what did y'all talk about? And what did your doctor say? And are you doing that? I'm going to be the one, your doctor going to tell you, and they ain't going to call you next week to see if you're doing it. Right. But you come meet with me as your coach, your life coach, then I can, and then I can also help you develop strategies for getting them done, because we get these instructions from our doctors or therapists or whoever, but sometimes we don't know how to implement them.
Right.
And we don't know how to make it fit, make it work, harmonizing our lives. And so we work on strategies. And what I love about it is that I get an opportunity to help each of you look at your life, because it's harmonize your life, not my life.
That's right.
Not the other women in the group's life. Well, when we have our group sessions, yes, we're all reading the same material, we're discussing it, we're all looking at the same podcast, and we're discussing the principles and the issues around whatever topic we're dealing with that month. But your individual sessions are focused on what you need to be healthy, for you, what you need to be your best you, to be your healthiest version of yourself. And so again, I thank you for being a part. You were an early adopter. When I said I was going to do this program, you were like one of the first to jump in. You made the investment of time, you made the investment of money, and you're here and you get your homework done. You participate in the group sessions, and it's just been good. And look at the results.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Can you imagine where I would have been had I not joined the program, not had that accountability, not start working back out? Y'all probably like, y'all remember Paula? Because I was not in a good space, health-wise. Like I said, I was picking up all of this weight, tired, couldn't walk up the stairs. And again, just having the accountability and having someone to work with me, somebody who cared, and even the group session, the books that we were reading and being able to discuss them. And I love sometimes how we all get different viewpoints material, but it's all, and then to be able to talk about it and share our ideas. And it's just been a great experience. And I strongly encourage anybody, if you are looking for anything mentally, physically, emotionally, to join this network, because the camaraderie, the sisterhood is priceless. You know, we're both AKA we're sorority sisters, but it's a whole different level even from that.
Yeah. So Paula, I want people to know how they can find you, Paula Burch. They can find you on Facebook at Paula Burch Jackson, right? And they can follow you on Instagram at Coach_PBJ. Coach_PBJ. Do you have a website, Paula? Because I was looking.
It's PBJ Consulting, but it's under construction. But I do have PBJ Construction LLC is my website, but it's under construction. But I do
have Consulting LLC.
Yeah, and my YouTube is This Game Called Life.
Okay.
Yeah, it's my YouTube page. Yeah.
And where can we get your books? On Amazon?
On Amazon. All of my books are on Amazon. This is my latest one. I sold out the other one, but this is my latest. This is just a story about me and Toni and how we met and how we learned from our previous relationship on how to talk to each other, right? And so it's about communicating, because communication is the glue to hold all relationships together. That's what it's about. They're all on Amazon. Thank you.
Good. Y'all go to Amazon and look her up, Paula Burch Jackson. Get some of her books, get her material. If you're interested in the intentional self-care program, Dr. Toni's intentional self-care program, I don't know who this is calling me right now because I can't talk right now. But anyway, if you're interested in the intentional self-care program, I want you to email me at hello@drtonialvarado.com. Email me at hello@drtonialvarado.com and just put in there, I want the application for the intentional self-care program. Now, the self-care network is a larger group of women. You can join that by going to my website and just joining there on the site. Just hit the self-care network button, and you can join there at whatever level you desire. The intentional self-care program is a little different because I do interview the women coming into that program to assess your readiness for the program, to see if you're really ready to do the work of self-care, because we're not just doing it. I'm not just interested in taking people's money or anything like that, or wasting my time or your time. I want to make sure that you're ready to make some real changes in your life. So email me at hello@drtonialvarado.com. And when you do so, just put in there that you would like the information for the intentional self-care program. We launched our cohort 2024 will start in January, and the application is live now. The application went live on November 1st, and we will once we get to our capacity of the group, it's a small group, so space is limited. When we get to that capacity, then we will close off 2024 cohort. So if you want to get in it, this is the best time to go on and email me. Don't wait and don't talk yourself out of it. you know, talk to your boss or your husband, talk to your company and tell them, hey, I want to be a better employee. So can you pay for me to go through this program? Or talk to your husband and tell them, for Christmas, this is what I want. I want you to, instead of buying this handbag for me, pay for me to go through this program, you know. So go there and get the information. If you're, listen, when you become intentional about your, you said it, Paula, when we become intentional, the money shows up, the time shows up, everything you need will be there when you become intentional. So don't talk yourself out of it. Email me, let's talk about it, and let's get you in the program. Okay. Paula, will you give us one last, just a little word of encouragement as we prepare to sign off?
Absolutely, Dr. Sonia, you talked about the money aspect of it, but at the end of the day, most of us women, we're going to take care of our hair, we're going to take care of our nails and our pedicure. And we do it most time people do it every 2 weeks, right? I promise you, what you charge is more than it's less than what I pay for that when I'm doing it. I had to now just make some sacrifices, but at the end of the day, you can do it. And I have an affirmation for those who saying, I can't afford to take care of myself. You can, whatever you think about, you bring about. And if you start telling yourself you can, you can. If you tell yourself you can't, you can't. Whatever you believe, it's the truth. But I have an affirmation. I am so happy and grateful now that money comes to me through increasing quantity, through multiple sources on a continuous basis. So you say that every day and watch that money show up. It's going to show up and it's going to be well worth it.
Say that again, your affirmation.
I am so happy, and I didn't say the whole thing, but I'll say the whole thing. I am so happy.
And slow it down. Slow it down. You said it so fast.
Okay, I'm so happy and grateful now.
I'm so happy and grateful now
that money comes to me.
That money comes to me
in increasing quantities.
In increasing quantities.
Through multiple sources.
Through multiple sources.
On a continuous basis.
On a continuous basis. Oh, I love it.
Right. I have the wallet of the spirit. The wallet of the spirit.
I have the wallet of the spirit.
It shall never be depleted.
It shall never be depleted.
Money comes out.
Money comes out.
And immediately money comes back in.
And money comes back in immediately.
Immediately. It's jam, cram, packed. And running over. That's scripture, right? By God's grace and in a special way.
Oh, girl. That's listen. You all write a book. That needs to be your next book.
Right. Toni and I started saying that in 2014. When I tell you money has never been a challenge for us. We say it every day. And whatever we need, God always shows up. And right now, somebody's listening to our voice. They need better health. They need to make better decisions when it comes to their lives. And they need, not want, they need to join this self-care network. Their lives will never be the same. And I'm a witness of that. And I thank you very much for what you poured into me this last year.
Oh, wow. Well, y'all heard it. Y'all heard it from a woman who's been in the program, the intentional self-care program. She's walked through it with me this year. And you see the results. You saw the results last week with Tamara. And now you're seeing the results with Paula. And I'm excited. I'm so excited about the women. I already have a couple of women who've already applied. And so I'm excited to get going again with the next cohort of the Harmonize Your Life Intentional Self-Care Program. I'm glad to have you again with me this week on the Harmonize Your Life Conversations on Self-Care for Women of Color podcast with your host, Dr. Toni G. Alvarado. Stay tuned for our next episodes that'll be coming up in the month of December. And we'll close out the year 2023 strong, healthy, and intentional about self-care. I'll see you soon.